Good morning. I'm going to go over the Hallmark Assessment Task, your HAT assignment for this course. And just a reminder, this will be something you will upload into Foliotech at the end of the semester. You'll notice that it's worth 1,000 points. It's a very complicated and layered assignment, and it is not an assignment that I wrote. However, I have given this type of assignment in many other courses in my career, so I'm familiar with the process. I just wanted you to know that I cannot change or alter anything about this assignment because it is a HAT assignment. So I'm going to go through it. I've been through it with students last year, and it was fine. So I want to assure you that I have every confidence that you'll get through it also. But it is layered and complicated, so I want to take it really carefully and slowly. And we will be doing a lot in class to help you with this. So like I said, I know you can do it. I know it seems like a lot. It is a lot. So just breathe through it and know that you will be able to do it. So the first component of it is these 6 hours of observation. And this is your field experience requirement. And this semester there are 2 sections. So whether you're in the section that includes master's degrees or not, the undergraduate section, it doesn't matter. The assignment is the same. It's not altered in any way. If you are a student who is doing this where you work and you are not choosing a field experience, you have one built in because you're doing it where you work. You don't have to do it where you work, by the way. If you want to get out and see something else, I would encourage you to do that if you can. I think it would be a really valuable experience. However, because of the programs you're in at U of L, I certainly can't nor wouldn't require you to, but I would encourage you to do that if you can make it happen. So regardless of where you're doing these hours, you do need to keep a field log and have it signed, and you'll be submitting that in week 15 at the very end of the semester. If you are not registered in one of those courses that is just for the field experience, you can email me all of your documents instead of uploading them into Blackboard, which would not be possible for you. Okay, so no worries there. So your observations reporting, we're going to be going over so much more this month about guidance strategies. And so you have some things to look at here. Here are some questions that I created to help you with your observations. Think about the guidance strategies that were used when you were there. Think about how teachers anticipate the needs of young children and how are they addressed as they arise. So what forms of very direct or indirect guidance? So direct guidance is direct interaction, but indirect guidance is things like the environment, the way the classroom is set up, the way the schedule works, all the things that we will have talked about in class. So we haven't talked about this yet, but we will. In what ways are they effective based on your course readings and observations? What changes and recommendations would you make? So not saying that you should be critiquing the environment, but more, can you imagine yourself in the space and what would you do? Maybe it would be different. If it's the same, it's the same. So just comment about that. Look at the physical environment. Look at the classroom routines. Make sure you include the classroom schedule and the room layout when you submit your field observation portion of this. In what ways do adults use language to honor or not honor identities, experiences, and development of children? to promote pro-social or desired behaviors. How do adults honor or not? To promote, oh, so you have this question twice. I don't know why that is, so I'm going to take it out. Okay. All right. So now identify a child in this setting who demonstrates what a lot of people call challenging behaviors. Be sure to define why and how you consider these behaviors challenging. Remember, challenging behaviors are challenging to us. So keep that in mind. We are not judging the child. We're not saying the child is doing something wrong or anything of that nature. We find the behavior challenging. Why is that? So I want you to identify the behavior and then say why it feels challenging to you. Just something you observe in your process. You have to observe your confidentiality agreement. Remember that. No names, nothing like that. We will be doing a handout in class about how to create a look at all of these behaviors. So I'm just going to leave that there for now. But remember, no names or family members can be used. So the whole idea of this project is for you to take what you've learned and will learn in the class, and then in November, begin actually creating a guidance plan. For October, you're just taking things in observations also. You can look at ways of observing children through the ways that we've discussed in class. You can use content from the class, and you should involve teachers in the process. It says families here. What I have found is that it's very hard to do that now. So I would say do not hold yourself to that one. I will not hold you to it. It's a very difficult thing to do in these times, and I'm working on actually getting that taken out of this assignment. So for now, I would prefer that you not worry about that part of it. So you're going to basically be creating a paper once you've completed the observations. You're going to first start with the developmental information about the age of the children in the classroom and the general information about the classroom and program itself. That should be about a page. So you want to give me the layout of the classroom, the schedule, and what you know about what the developmental agenda is for the children in that room, from basically ages 3 to 5 are what most of you will be doing. And we will have gone over quite a bit of this in class, and you'll have to do a little bit of diving in yourself about that. You can also ask the teachers for what their view of the developmental information is for the children they work with every day. All right, so now in the next 2 to 3 pages, you're going to write about all of the direct and indirect strategies and implementations that you see in the classroom. You can include photographs of the classroom space if it shows you something like, oh, they have, for example, the Beloved Community Center would be a great example of something that is indirect guidance. So there can be all kinds of examples of that in classrooms, but that is one that a lot of you saw, so I was going to point to that. That is about 2 to 3 pages of information, so you want to be very detailed. Now, in 1 page, describe the child you've identified for the case study. Their age, developmental context, so where do you see them? If you take the context of the class's developmental information, where do they fit into that? Are they pretty much step by step in that developmental space, or are they in some places delayed and some places ahead and moving into the next phase of development? What are their strengths and challenges, and especially how do those connect to the group setting? So that's a page. Remember, you're not diagnosing them. No diagnostic language should be used unless for some reason you've been told they have a diagnosis. That is not information you should have, actually. So if you've been told that, that's really a violation of that child's confidentiality, and you should just ignore it and not use it in this paper. So try to remove that bias about what you know about a diagnosis of that nature, unless it's a physical issue that's very obvious, like a wheelchair or some kind of issue with motor skills, something like that that's very obvious. And again, you just described what you see, not what you think the diagnosis is. I just want to be really careful about that. And so basically you are really describing this child as you see them without your opinions. You can talk about the child and then you can say, here's what I think about it. That's fine. Just as long as you're very clear, here's what I saw happen that caused me to think this way about this child, and here's what I think about it. So be careful with that. Now you're going to go into 2 to 3 pages about what the unwanted behaviors are that you identified and discuss what you see. What do you think the motives might be? What do you think the needs might be? Remember, we're not diagnosing, we're just getting interested in this child. Start thinking about what you see and what it might be. What needs might they be that are being met or not being met? And you may see, depending on where you are, how the teachers try to meet the needs. But your next part, which is the 6 pages, this is the meat of the meat and potatoes if you're a vegetarian. Sorry, I couldn't resist. If you look at this part, this is where you really get into making the guidance plan. And I want you to refer to the process we do in class. Think about all the different things you think might help this child with the issue. If you had this child and you could do whatever they needed with no obstacles, what would you provide for them? Would you provide them with more time outside, for example? Even though I want you to not say they couldn't do that. I want you to say what would actually help this child, because that's how I know what you've gotten from the course. I'm not asking you to say this would not be possible. I think we already have established that many of the things that would actually help and benefit children are not always possible in every environment. However, it's important from this class that I know you know the difference. And maybe you can't convince a school to let a child be outside for 2 hours or 1 hour at a time, but maybe you could get them outside for short breaks just to walk out around the building. You know, something simple. So what I want you to do is be thinking what would be ideal for this child, what would actually help them, and then keep thinking, so how would I do this in an environment where this may or may not be possible? So that's your big part of the assignment. That's what you'll do once you've had the time to really reflect and observe and understand this child. If you have trouble identifying a child, you may be in some environments where there are not challenging behaviors because the children are in the environments which support them not having them. So what I want you to do then is focus on a child that interests you and talk about how you might work with them in that environment. They don't necessarily have to have a typically challenging behavior. They can just be a child that's very interesting to you. So keep that in mind also. And you'll be seeing me, so talk to me about this. I'm here for you. You will not be doing this alone. We'll be conferencing about it anyway. So basically, you're looking at a 12 to 15 page paper, which sounds like a lot, I know. on the 28th of November, at the end of the semester after Thanksgiving break, we will sit and do an informal discussion of each person's guidance plan. So at that point, you'll present it to your classmates, and then you will present the written piece to me in Blackboard by the 5th of December. So you can see this is the college rubric here, and you can pay attention to it. I break down the points this way, that there's 100 for the editing. I do care about that. Please edit your papers. These are papers you may want to use in a portfolio someday, so they should be edited and not have lots of mistakes in them. If you need help with that, that's great. Go find an editor to get help. I know U of L has a writing center, but if you know somebody who's a good editor, definitely make them a good meal or something and make use of them. I will not edit your papers when you turn them in. If I can't read them or understand them because the editing is not done well enough, I'll send it back to you and give you a chance to edit it. I'll give you 24 hours to do that. I do that for my students. However, I would suggest that you edit as you write and keep up with it. It is important in a professional setting, so I do adhere to that standard in my own classes. And the college expects it as well. I'm sure you're used to that by now. This is the bulk of what you're doing. And then this is the guidance plan itself. That's that 6-page portion. This is for all the other documentation pieces, including the submission of your field blog. So that is what I can offer you now for this assignment. I will tell you again, I have every confidence you can do this, and I have seen students who've gone into it almost in tears come out the other side and do an amazing piece of work. So, and remember, you're not in it alone. I'm going to help you. I don't expect you to know how to write a guidance plan by yourself. In fact, nobody, including me, should write a guidance plan for a child in isolation. They should be done with colleagues who know and understand the child and who have expertise in various areas. So that's why I'm presenting you with so many different people who have expertise in various areas, so that you can think about them when you're creating the guidance plan. So I hope this has been helpful. I'm sorry it's so long, but it is a very complicated assignment, and I wanted you to have this to refer back to when you're trying to work on it on your own over the next 2 months.